Hello, and welcome to Local Listen. Available weekly on Spotify, Pocket Casts, Anchor, and our YouTube channel. On this week's episode, we have Michael Sinner of King Strang and the Bridge City Sinners. We talk music projects, developing your sound, and some history of King Strang and the Stranglers. We also talk about the Bridge City Sinners transitioning from being a local band to a national touring act, living in New Orleans, and great busking spots, along with some crazy stories from Mexico. Other bands are mentioned throughout the episode, and you can find links for them in the episode description.
Hi everybody! Welcome to this week's episode of Local Listens. Thank you for tuning in. I am Bailey of Bailey Ukulele.
And I'm Shane from Sanatorium Hill, and we have...
Michael Sinner, a.k.a. King Strang, or the guitar player of the Bridge City Sinners.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
So, you have your solo stuff, which is King Strang, and then you got Bridge City Sinners as well. Are there any other projects you've been in?
I've played bass in a bunch. I did Clyde and The Milltailers for a bit. I've done some stuff with All Lightning Luke. I was touring with the Tejon Street Corner Thieves for a while. I think that's the majority of the projects I've been. I've also done some like punk rock. So I was in a band called Los Yeah-Yeahs in Salt Lake, starting a new punk band down here in New Orleans. So, you know, I always got my fingers in something.
God damn.
Nice.
Buy an upright bass. Nobody's got one. You'll join like 15 bands overnight.
Well,
right.
How long have you actually been playing music?
Well, my mom forced me to take piano lessons from 5 until I joined band in 5th grade. And then when I joined band, I started playing drums. But drums aren't very impressive when you're by yourself. So then I started playing guitar. Probably about 13.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
If you started guitar so young, how long was it until you figured out the whole, like, kind of ragtime sound that you have?
Oh, that came much, much later. I mean, then I was learning how to play guitar. I had like a book called Learn to Play Guitar with Metallica. So it was mostly just like classic rock and Green Day, you know, was kind of my main repertoire back when. I don't remember what happened. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou came out, and I heard Wagon Wheel, and I'm like, I'm going to buy an acoustic guitar. And then slowly but surely started leaning less country and like old time and turned it a little more jazzy.
Nice. I started playing bass when I was like 6 or something like that. And
damn,
even like starting that young, I'm not good at the bass, but like
I'm not good at guitar either.
I'm not gonna either, so we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, cool. Let's all suck together.
Yeah.
Right.
But when I started playing bass and everything, my teacher was like all about teaching me how to do like blues riffs and everything. And it was awesome until I joined my first band, which was like a death metal band, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yep.
It's like everything you learn go out the fucking window.
I feel that. I feel that super hard. I've been in like, I'll be like jamming with people and they're like, hey, just groove to this thing, man. I'm like, I don't know how to groove. I can do like rockabilly guitar solos, like fakes through some garage punk rockabilly stuff, and that's it. Like, I can't even solo over the chords I play. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I know one position. That's it.
Yeah, like that's what capos are for, though. So it's good.
Right. That's what all the bells and whistles and toys are for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. This is the kazoo's for.
Right. Exactly. Oh my god.
To fill in the gaps in my guitar playing.
See?
There you go.
See, Bailey is a very avid kazoo player, so he can relate.
I feel that the kazoo doesn't get enough credit these days.
Oh, wait, what was that?
I said I've seen Bailey perform at Punks in the Woods.
Whoa.
Years back.
Okay.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah. Right. Sorry, I get really like nervous when people go, yeah, I've seen you play at this show before. I'm like, oh, people have seen me play. Okay. That's how that works.
My music does exist.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I wonder how long ago that was.
I'm not sure. Must have been my first one, because...
It's probably like 2018 or something.
Yeah, that was the first year I played. That was the strange year where I wasn't supposed to play, and it was my first year at Punks in the Woods, and then Joy was like, so, a band dropped. Can you perform on the main stage? And I was like, sure, I don't have a set. I'll play something.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have anything planned, so I just threw in a bunch of cover songs, which I always do, but that time specifically, though, I had like maybe 2 originals, and the rest were cover songs, and I was like, here we go.
Here we go.
Had like kids jumping around on stage. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
So you mentioned that, are you currently down in New Orleans?
Yeah. I've been down here for like a little over a year now.
Oh, all right. So how's that going with like the Bridge City Sinners? Are they still out in Portland area, or are you all just kind of scattered?
Well, Clyde's originally from Colorado, so he's been staying at our booking guys' house out in Nassau, Washington, which is just kind of across the bridge from Astoria, Oregon, in that sort of general area. And then Libby moved down to San Jose. I think she just moved to Sacramento, but so she's in like the greater Bay Area. And then Scott and Luke still live in Portland, but now it's kind of like instead of practicing once a week, we'll just like show up for like 2 weeks and record and go through a bunch of songs. And instead of it being like, oh, we're here to practice for 2 hours, it's like, this is the only thing we're doing for 2 weeks. So it's a lot more focused driven, you know? And like people come with songs that they wrote and you just get in there and like do the work and then go home.
That's awesome.
We're kind of transitioning right now from being like a local Portland-based band to be more of like a national touring act. So like the local home shows are a lot less of the majority of what we're doing, you know? So like basically it's like, well, if you don't have to be in Portland for the local shows, like you could be anywhere. You know, you just fly in when the tour starts and then sit in a van for a month, and then when you get to go home, you just go home.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So how?
And the weather's way nicer down here.
Oh, I bet. A lot more humid though.
Yeah. It's like probably 80 degrees right now.
Ooh.
No, it's maybe 75. Nice though.
All right.
Yeah. Here we are with rainy clouds and wind and. Yeah.
It was super sunny like a couple days ago to the point that it gave me headaches. I've gotten so
me
used
too.
to the constant clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
Parts of
I was like,
makes
son,
sense,
I forgot what that feels like.
Yeah, right.
So how's that like transition going from like this local act that you guys were to something so much bigger?
Well, I'm sure you guys have noticed the snowballing effect of what YouTube will do for someone who's got face tats and is pretty, you know? So, I mean, our music's good too, but we really took off on YouTube. And so now the offers just started rolling in, and we started working with our bud Jay Crash, and he's been booking tours for punk and metal bands for like 10 years, you know? So he's got a bunch of connections, and he's like our buddy that we've known for decades, you know? Or, you know, most of us have known him for at least 5 to 10 years. And so, like, he's a good friend. We know he's, like, on our side for the most part. And so he's got all these connections. Everybody wants us out. Like, we've really taken off in the last 2-3 years. And so it's kind of just, like, you like, sit at home and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just, like, this dumb little folk punk band. And then you go out on the road and you're like, holy shit, people like us. This is insane.
There you go.
Why?
I remember when that, actually, I went back and I watched the video, and like Bridge City Sinners was a totally different band back then. But
Yeah,
when
many iterations.
when that St. James Infirmary video like went viral,
Yeah.
and that like blew up, I remember sitting back and I was like, oh, this is gonna change a lot. And then like within the last like couple years, it's like selling out Numos and like huge shows, and I'm like, whoa, okay, this isn't like watching them play at the Wisco back in Madison anymore. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's like, it's skyrocketed overnight. It feels like every time we go back on tour, it's even bigger than it was the last time. We're like, how does this double in size every time we leave?
That's insane.
Yeah, that is wow.
2 weeks ago, we released a new logo, and somebody got a tattoo on their face already.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, It's not like full face. It's really like just in front of the ear kind of situation, but it's still like, dude, this is awesome.
Wow. I mean, people have probably already gotten like Bridge City Sinners like tattoos and stuff already, but like still, that is amazing.
Yeah, the turnaround time.
Yeah,
Just like, dang, dude, did you have the appointment booked already?
Yeah.
Damn.
And then, of course, like your solo, the King Strang stuff, like that album. I think you put out the second coming that came out last year, right?
Yeah.
That album is fucking amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
And the moment you put it out, people are just like blowing it up. You're doing something right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, especially with the Sinners, we really built like, because we're kind of a super band almost, because Clyde and The Milltailers also great music, Lightning Luke also great music. And so we've kind of built this infrastructure since the success has happened that like now we can all kind of build each other up, and we have like outlets like Spotify playlists and stuff where we have like access to all this infrastructure that really helps us get stuff out and let people know about it. There's a lot of teamwork. Clyde does a lot of work on the Spotify end. Luke does a lot of stuff as far as promotional things go, and Scott works his ass off like 24/7. It's like his main job now, especially with Flail Records, to just like find the best way to get stuff out and blow it up.
Yeah, it's like you're self-networking. It sounds weird how I'm saying it, but it makes sense in my head.
It is true. No, that's 100% what it is. I mean, like I always tell people, I'm not really selling music so much. I'm selling like the image and the good times, and like going out on tour is like the best way to get your stuff out there. You're bringing the music to the people. You don't just sit at home and wait for them to hear it. You bring it to them.
Right.
And so when we go out and tour, me and Clyde and Luke for almost like 2 years straight there, just like lived on the road, and would just go out and meet people and meet people and meet people, and like we all just like resigned to just being broke as shit and living in a van, and we're like, we're doing this, guys, and it really paid off.
Wow.
Shane, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
We need to go back and read the instruction manual again.
You can make at least gas money, and somebody will feed you.
Yeah, that's the thing that's great about like the DIY music scene and everything, is everybody is just so willing to just kind of help you. It's so crazy.
Yeah, the amount of support I've had that just has nothing to do with anything I've done is absurd. Like, everybody's just like, I will support you because you exist,
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really, really humbling.
So you gotta have some like cool stories from the road that stand out more than others then.
See, all the good stories are really blurry,
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was on tour with Tejon one time, and they were shotgunning SpaghettiOs. We were going to do Dunkaroos.
Yeah!
And then we were going to do Dunkaroos, but we didn't have like a bucket of ice. So we just started, like, you got to headbutt a trash can and then get slapped in the face and shotgun a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sounds like a good time.
In the ice water first. Yeah.
There was one time I was in Guatemala, and this guy was in town from Ohio or something, and he was just like, bro, you gotta try a Dunkaroo. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, bro, it's the most amazing feeling in the entire world. So we did them. I'd never done them before, but we did it. And I was like, this is insane. Who the hell does this? And now, like, everybody I know has done it. I'm like, what the fuck? This is, like, super weird.
Dude, it's a real shock to the system,
It is. It's like, it wakes you up and gets you drunk. It's strange.
Yeah, you could be like sliding off, just being like, I don't know, guys, I think I'm going to bed. You do a Dunkaroo, you're right back up.
Yeah, you're like, okay, cool.
We're back.
Right. Shane, we'll have to get you doing one of those with one of your NA beers that you have at the house.
It works with anything, as long as it's bubbly.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to burp. If it's just water, it's not going to work.
Right.
I've been on the seltzer lately. I was very hard team anti-seltzer for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I tried to cut back drinking, and then holy mollies, dude. Seltzers. They're where it's at. It's just like beer, but not.
Right.
And way cheaper.
Yeah, way cheaper. Yeah.
I got a pretty good story of Mexico tour.
Mexico, huh?
Yeah, so I went down with Tejon to do like 10-day tour in Mexico. Coolest thing I've ever done, probably, because now international touring artist, this guy, right? What's up? And we played the show in Aguascalientes, and it went great. Like, everybody's like, I'm sorry there wasn't that many people here, but the room was jam-packed. And, like, people are singing along. And you're just like, how are people in Mexico singing along to, like, Tejon songs? This is crazy, right? And so, like, the bar closes down or whatever. But the next one, the bar right next door to it, is, like, run by the cartel or something. So they paid off the cops to let them stay open all night. And so we're all, like, outside hanging out or something. And, like, we thought it was, like, live band karaoke or something.
Yeah.
And so they're like, Sean, get up here and sing a song. And the only one that he could think of doing was like Hotel California that they knew. So he was wasted on stage trying to sing Hotel California, reading the lyrics off his phone. But he doesn't know the words.
That's awesome.
And the screen's too small so he can't read it. And
oh, jeez.
And they're like, Michael, Spencer, get in here. We all like run up on stage and we're like, yeah. And then they're looking at us all funny. And like, we realized later that it wasn't karaoke. This band was just playing a set. And somebody was like, get up there, guys. And we just started singing.
Oh, jeez. That's amazing.
We probably looked so stupid, just like, yeah. I'm like, thanks, man, thanks.
That's awesome. This band's just sitting there
I'm
like,
not really sure what the situation was. Like, maybe it was karaoke.
Right.
No. There's a lot of confusion. I mean, the language barrier and all. There's a lot of confusion. It was and bombed the song. Totally ruined the song.
see, that's something I wish
That's
there was a
so-
video of.
I'm glad.
Right. That sound. Oh, I want to go tour to Mexico now.
Man, that'd be
Oh.
cool.
Like then.
Mexico's
That
the
sounds fun.
greatest. Like those shows,
That's awesome.
every single one was a banger.
Wow.
Damn.
And then they'd all apologize for it not being good enough, and you're like, you have no idea what it's like in the States, do you? Like, we had a room with like 4 people, and they're all like just sitting at the bar, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, the punk scene.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, man, sorry I was out smoking. Great set, though.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. I
Did
can
I
hear
borrow
you.
your amp?
Really? Well, part of you.
That's when they come up, they compliment you, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is, like, you're in my favorite band. And then they say, like, a different band that played that night.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
And
I
you're
got
just like,
worried
oh,
about
yeah,
that.
thanks.
Dude,
Yeah.
we played Atlanta, right? And we were opening as Clyde and The Milltailers, and then the Sinners played, and then Days and Days played, right? And so it's like after the show had ended, and we're like sitting in the bar section, not the show section, and it's me, Clyde, and Luke are sitting there, and they come up to us and like, man, you guys were awesome. That was like one of the greatest shows I've seen. Oh, that first band sucked though. And Clyde's sitting right there, like we were the first.
Oh no. The three of you were just like, that was us.
We're like, yeah, dude, that band blows. Hate them. You guys are dicks too.
Oh, that sucks.
That's hilarious. There was one time, I was playing a show at the Fun House in Seattle. It's like my only show I've ever played there, and it was me, and this like weird like Latin rock band, and then this like pop punk band, and then this other guitar player. And after the show was over, this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Bro, your set was amazing. I really liked it." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "I just can't believe you can play the guitar like that." And I was like, "Actually, it was a ukulele." He goes, No, you were playing the guitar." And I was like, "Dude, no, I was playing the ukulele the entire night. Like, that was my set." Turns out the guy thought that I was the guitar player guy and thought the guitar player guy was me. So then the whole night we were like, we're just going to meet each other. So like the whole night the guy was coming up to us, like just talking to us, and he'd be like, "Man, when you did that one thing with the guitar where you played it behind your head, that was so sick. And when you did that like Shrek cover with your ukulele, that was awesome." I was like, "Yeah, thanks. I really had to practice playing behind my head like for like 12 hours straight. It was nuts." Like we totally had this guy convinced that we were like each other's fans. It was awesome.
That's
I loved
awesome.
it.
You just got to roll
Yeah.
with it sometimes.
Right? Exactly.
Give the
Yeah.
people what they want, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not a musician. I'm an
Okay.
entertainer. Okay, I'm here to entertain. Just tell
Right.
people, yep.
As long as you had a good time, I
Whatever
did my job.
whatever you want to believe, we'll do it. We'll just
Right.
run with it.
Yep.
Right.
Whatever makes you feel best, you know?
Yeah. As long as you had a good time, we did our job.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, what came first? Your solo projects or like the Bridge City Sinners stuff?
Well, they kind of blend together. So originally, when I first moved to Portland, I was looking for a place to stay. Right, I was like trying to find a room to rent because I was living in my van. And so once I had enough money to saved up to pay rent and like a deposit and whatnot, I had like ads on Craigslist, you know, for like rooms wanted. And this girl hits me up. She's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a room too. Renting in this town sucks. Do you want to like band together and try to get a spot?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds easier. Maybe we could get like a 4-bedroom house and like find some more roommates and figure it out that way, as opposed to trying to rent a room in a house that already exists, you know."
Right.
And so we linked up, and one of the houses she was couch surfing at, she like stayed in this room while this dude was out of town. And the guy who was out of town was Ryan, and he's the guy who was playing clarinet in the beginning of the Sinners, right? So she was playing washboard, I was playing guitar and singing, and then Ryan was playing clarinet. And we're like looking for more people to play music with, so we put an ad on Craigslist, you know, more Craigslist. And then Libby responded to it, was like, hey, I think we probably play similar kinds of music. Yeah, I'm down to like meet up with you guys and like jam, right? And so we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this open mic at this bar. You should come through. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna hide in the back and spy on them, make sure they don't suck, right? So like back then, at that point, we were doing jazz covers, and it was basically like an early version of what King Strang turned into. And then when Libby joined, we were kind of going back and forth singing for a little while, and then eventually it just ended up being her. And then we found Scott, and then the Bridge City Sinners formed after that. And then I left the band for a while. That's why I'm not in that St. James Infirmary video, because I moved to Salt Lake for love, right? And then Salt Lake was where I really started doing King Strang as a serious project.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I moved back to Portland and rejoined the Sinners like a couple years later.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sweet.
So they kind of go hand in hand, you know. It's not like, because originally,
Gotcha.
like, if you listen to the first Sinners like EP or whatever, it's like you can clearly hear like the jazz influence. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Like you can hear where the two kind of line up.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
how is the like music scene down in Salt Lake? Because I hear stories of people going through and they have a great time, but I know when I was on the road and I went through Salt Lake, it fucking sucked.
Where'd you play?
There was this like, I feel like it was like the downtown area. I remember there was like this kind of mall with like a fucking trolley car in it. But it was by this like this water tower thing. I think it was downtown.
Trolley Square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, like, we were fucking on the road for like 3 months, and we were like, we'll go through Salt Lake and like do some busking and stuff, and people just stared at us.
I'm surprised you didn't get kicked out.
Yeah, like, well,
Trolley Square is not the place. You got to go downtown. I used to live across the street from Trolley Square.
Okay. We pulled into town and we're like, we don't know anything about the area. Let's go to this like visitor center and see if we can get like a local map or something. And we walked in, they talked to the people in front of us and then talked to the people in back of us. They didn't even like address that we were there.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
We were like,
Sounds
okay,
about right.
we're totally wanted here. This is great. So we didn't spend much time in Salt Lake, but
Yeah, it's definitely you got to kind of know the places to go, because otherwise it's so Mormonville, you know, like everybody is Mormon, unless they're not.
Yeah.
But then if they're not, they're your homie. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
like there are two sides, and one side is the majority. Like 3% of that city is the coolest shit you've ever seen. The other 97% is just atrocious, like atrocious shopping malls. You know?
yeah.
I remember the first time I realized it, because we lived in the city when I first moved there, right? And so we're only hanging out with like the punks. The girl I moved there with had lived there before, like grew up there, so she still had some friends in town. We still like knew some people, and like she wanted to go to Lush to get some cosmetics, you know, that are vegan and sustainably sourced. And so we had to go to this mall. It's like on the edge of town, like 15 minutes out into like, you know, suburban outlet mall land. And she had like blue dreads, and I'm like covered in tattoos and stuff. And we're like walking around, and dude, people were like guarding their children and like walking out of our way. And I'm just like, oh my Lord, dude, I cannot believe it. We're here. This is it. This is Mormon Utah. This is what they told us about. This is what everybody warned me about. People are legitimately afraid of me here.
After Salt Lake, we we started making our way to like southern Idaho. Spend some time in like Twin Falls and like that area, and
Yikes.
that whole area is beautiful. But God, the people, like, they either think you're all right or they fucking hate you.
Yeah. Southern Idaho is very similar to like your rural Utah. You know, like they're still very, very much Mormon influence and very afraid of outsiders.
Yeah. But spending like the week and a half we did around Zion was the perfect like cost for all of that.
It was worth it. I lived in Utah for 2 years, and I never made it to any of the national parks.
Oh,
man.
I've been to Moab and Arches a few times now since I left. the first time I went
Okay.
to Moab and Arches was like 2 years after I stopped living in Utah.
My like 2 memories I have from Utah is driving around really late at night with my family on a road trip, and there was a big thunderstorm, and we were on my way to my grandpa's house, and we had got stopped in the middle of the road by a bull, and we had to like a legit like giant cow, and we had to like back up, and then we backed up, and there were more cows. We were like surrounded by them, and so then some guy was like on a quad, had to like get off his quad, and he knew what to do. He like came over and was like, "Don't worry, I got this," and like moved the cows out of the way so we could drive away. And then like 3 days later, while we're at my grandpa's house, he's like, "Let's go to this music festival." And he's like a really big like religious guy, and we show up, and it's like a bunch of stoner rock, and like a bunch of people smoking weed, and he didn't know. He just knew that I liked music, so he's like, "Let's go." So like my grandma and my grandpa are like freaking out. My mom and I think this is like awesome, and my stepdad's like, "This is amazing." But like my grandparents were like, "Oh my god, we need to leave," and we thought it was amazing. We thought it was the like coolest thing ever, but they were totally terrified. It was awesome.
Nice. I will say that the music scene in Salt Lake's really supportive. I mean, not they don't really like folk punk that much. Like that has never gone over very well. But when I was doing like the fancy jazz stuff with King Strang and the Stranglers, the swing dance community fucking loved us, and so they were extremely supportive of like that project. They'd show up to every show, and so we're playing dive bars on the edge of town, and it's like full of swing dancers, and so like the floor is just like swing dancing. I'm like, this is so authentic right now.
That's so cool.
Hell yeah.
And then I was in like a garage punk band called Los Yayas. I implore everybody to look it up. It was a really good time. And we played like everything from like punk shows and basements to like the larger venues in town, and it was so fun. Everybody was just super supportive. There's like maybe 100 people who are in every band and like do everything. So like you end up becoming really close with really like a lot of people. So every time I go back to Salt Lake, it's like going home.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Miss Salt Lake. Some good friends there, you know?
That's awesome. They're going to listen to this and be like, God, that one guy just talks shit about the whole area. What the hell?
Yeah.
No, right. Once you get in with the crew, they're super, super sweet.
All right.
And like you only hang out with the same people every day because like who else are you going to hang out with? Mormons? Yeah. Seems small, but it's really self-sufficient, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with like the style of music and the whole like ragtime kind of stuff that you started doing, where do you draw your like influences from?
Well, it started out with like the jug band stuff. There's like, you know, it's an era in like American traveling culture, like 10 years ago maybe, like 2012, 2011, where everybody was going around playing jug band music, riding trains and stuff. And I never rode any trains, but I was watching all their videos on YouTube, you know, like Yes Ma'am and Tuba Skinny, Drunken Catfish Ramblers, like the stuff, right? And so I'm like, oh, I love this music. I want to play it. And then I did.
Nice.
Well, there you go.
I worked
That's like probably the most direct answer we've had to that question.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to this music and then I played it.
Yeah. I was working a job in college that was like, I didn't do shit, you know. I just kind of sat around and like whenever I was the GIS technician for the facilities management department, so I basically just did the campus map, which you can imagine doesn't change very often, you know.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really like a ton of things to do. So I basically just sat on YouTube and like watched people busking on Royal Street for like a year.
That's awesome.
All right.
Now here we are. And I live in New Orleans, and I busk on Royal Street, playing the same songs I was watching on YouTube. Full circle ending, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dang.
See what you like and go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuba Skinny's playing right now, actually. I almost did the interview over there, but we didn't make it in time, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're playing on the street.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So other than, like, the area around there, where else would you say would be, like, your favorite busking spot?
Oh, man, there's one in every city. So, in Portland, it was always Voodoo Donuts. That's the spot, because everybody's waiting in line for their bougie donuts, right? And since they're waiting in line, you basically have them held there captive, you know what I mean? So they can't go away, and they're forced to listen to you. And then me and Luke found this really dope spot in Cleveland. Like, we had a break in that tour or whatever, And we're just like, well, let's go busk. And Cleveland's halfway between Pittsburgh and Detroit, so I guess we'll just like hang out there. And it's like very similar situation, right? There's a nice street. It's all blocked off to traffic. It's all outdoor seating for restaurants. And there's a little gap in all the outdoor seating fences that like you have everybody sitting there eating dinner so they can't leave, and you just subject them to your music. And then they come out and pay us enough money that we'd get a hotel room, a 6-pack, and go sleep. And then just wake up the next day and do it again. And then Pearl Street in Boulder is always a good spot.
I'm going to go back through and like write these all down so I can make sure I hit all these spots when I actually go on tour.
Yeah.
Forced captive busking. This sounds like a niche that we should all be playing.
You just go wherever there's a line. You just sit down and start playing.
Got it.
And like street fairs and farmers markets are always good too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's just strolling around with cash in their pocket, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't think I've made as good money anywhere as you do here. Because especially because I'm playing like jazzy stuff, so people think it's authentic New Orleans music, you know? They're like, wow, how authentic this man from the Pacific Northwest is. Give your money to the local artists, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, if it works for you, right?
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, before the pandemic hit, me and my fiance Kit, we were renting a room and a shotgun that had like 8 people in it, and so rent was like $125 each a month. So I could literally make rent in one Saturday in like 2 hours. And we were like, well, all right, I made $120 today. I'm done.
Damn.
Yeah. It was good money. I went out twice during the pandemic, but like never made good enough money. And I'm kind of exposing myself. So I'm on the street and it wasn't really about it. So I'm like, I went out once pretty early on. There was no one out there. Made $55. And then the next time I went out, like 3 months later, I made like $20. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done. I'm gonna wait till this shit's over and then go busk again. But it's back now, man. The quarter's popping. It's not safe, but there's a ton of people.
Hell yeah.
I went out busking probably like once or twice since COVID hit. And yeah it's just kind of like out there screaming to an empty street.
Yeah. It was a ghost town here for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, like around here, you're lucky if you make like $5. You're like, yes, I made enough to get a snack at the convenience store.
Yep.
Yeah, right. That's like, one tall boy and a bag of Cheetos.
Yep.
You gotta busk downtown Tacoma to get bus fare to go up to Seattle, so you can like busk downtown Seattle to get bus fare to go up to like Broadway and busk there and get enough money to go home.
Right. You basically just bus fare to get you to your next spot to get more bus fare.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
It's kind of like a little tour. You know?
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like I've never done the Pike Place Market, and I should probably go busk there sometime just to see what it's like.
Like busking at the market, you have to like apply for.
Ah, fucking
yeah.
Yeah.
I went busking there once across the street. Oh yeah. No, I went busking there across the street from Pike Place once because I was like, oh, it's not technically in Pike Place Market, so I should be fine. And a cop came over and said, do you have a permit? And I was like, I didn't know you had to have one because at the time I didn't know. And he was like, well, I'm gonna take all the money you've made, and like took all the money. Like anyway.
Classic cop.
Yep.
Last night we went to Gorilla Karaoke in like downtown New Orleans, which is the bougiest, like fanciest place you could ever be, right? But there's some abandoned building that our friend found a way into, and there's this big open gravel lot in the back of it. And so they strung up all these lights and made karaoke start going on, right? So we're all singing karaoke, and then of course the cops showed up, and then they took the fucking PA. And you're like, thanks for stealing my shit. It's pretty rude.
Like, yeah, holy crap.
We have garbage bags. We're leaving no trace. Like, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
then we didn't really get it cleaned up because the cops came and kicked us all out.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Then, of course, like, the next day, people complain about it. Like, see the mess they made?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I would have cleaned it up, but you didn't let me stick around.
Right. I would have helped, but you didn't let me help, so here we are.
Yeah. They stole our shit. Classic cop move.
I do have one question I made sure to write down, and I'm pretty sure like I've thought about this over and over again since you came out with the Second Coming album. What mic did you use on your vocals? Do you know what mic that was? Because it sounds fucking great.
I have no idea. You'd have to ask Jesse.
All right, yeah, because being like an audio guy myself, like I'm sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, I like that. I want that mic. I need to figure out what the hell he used.
We might have put some distortion on it too. I don't really remember. I'm not a studio guy at all. I fucking hate being in the studio. I only know half of my songs because most of the time I just sit there, read the lyrics off my phone, fumble through it, and then just like, yeah, it's good enough. Fuck it, dude, put it out. Get it over with. I'm trying to get out of here. I hate this.
Yeah.
Recording does suck. The moment you hit record, you forget everything that you fucking practiced.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even with Sinners, because we do everything to like a click track. There's metronomes, and you got to be in time all the time. No mistakes made, you know? And so, like, you can't really get the feel down because you're focused so hard on doing it technically correct. And you're like,
right.
Well, now I can't, like, play hard because then I'll get out of time, you know? And so I just fucking hate recording.
Yeah. You're more fancier than I am, though, because when I record, it's, like, in my room with a USB microphone, and it, like, I position it, usually, so it's, like, in between my ukulele and my vocals, so maybe it picks up both. And then I re-record the vocals on a separate track and then put it all together. And it's just like, I don't mix anything. I just like, oh, I remember one time I was in school and they said something about reverb. All right. And maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. All right. Sounds good enough. Throw it out there.
Yeah. My first album was done on one microphone, but it was like one microphone from the 30s.
Oh, damn.
Really fancy microphone. And then my buddy Chad was the one like mixing it and doing all the stuff. And he was like super pro. But like I was moving from Salt Lake back to Portland, and I'm like, well, I saved up a bunch of money. I'm just gonna live in my van and like busk and like kick it and wait until we go on tour again. Like I had no plan. Like I'm gonna go on the Sinners tour for 2 weeks and then like kick it. And he's like, well, do you have anything to sell while you're busking, like a CD or something? And I'm like, nah, dude, I don't care about that. And he's like, but I mean, you should though. Like, you'd probably make a lot more money if you had a CD to sell. I'll record you if you want. And I'm like, nah, man, it's cool. He's like, no, come on, man, you need it. Just get in my like living room and I'll record you. And then it turns out he's got like all this dope ass shit. It's like a super good sound engineer.
Hell yeah.
Like he's got his own business washing windows. And I'm like, dude, Chad, what are you doing? Like, you did the whole thing for free. And I'm like, dude, I owe you so much money right now.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Chad. I still owe you money.
So is that like, what's it called? Like the Sad Boy Stomp or whatever?
Yeah, that one was all on one mic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty old school, you know, singing to a can style.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now I got to go back and listen to that album.
I was gonna say, I think Shane's audio like mine is now going, ooh, I need to go study that now.
Yeah.
On the Second Coming, the song, I end, fuck, god damn it. I sung the words wrong, and then Luke's on the other side, and he's like, is there like another verse or something? And I'm like, nah. He's like, so there's no new lyrics or anything? I'm like, nah. He's like, just keep it. And I'm like, all right. Sure, I don't give a fuck. Leave it.
What? Yeah.
Didn't even finish the song, just like messed up in the like toward the end, and he's like, yeah, close enough. I'm like, yeah, you're right, close enough.
That's awesome.
And that's the do-it-yourself way.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably the only correct way to play it because I've never played it live because I don't know the words. So
there you go.
Oh,
it's the only time I've ever played that song.
That's awesome.
huh.
My effort level is extremely low.
Well, cool.
Here is a song from King
Strang
entitled
The Second
Yeah,
Coming.
thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's
Yeah.
episode of Local
Thanks for
Listens.
having me.
And next week's guest is JCK of This Machine Kills Gods. We hope you tune in next time and have a great and music-filled week.
Long ago, I was a king among men. Lying chickens, stealing my way to heaven. What that good Lord said had led me astray. Every Sunday morning, preaching song, but Baba never helped me anyway. Well, I'm sorry for everything I've done. Now I'm back to show you how to have a little fun. Here's to the devil, everything you had to say. When I got down to that fiery deal, saw a man in Rome, is what he said to me. For the price of your soul, I can send you back. But you work for me and you wear all black. He said no more fear and no more hate. Yes, no more gods, no more fiery fates. Just licking moves, a good time to bring. Maybe a little cocaine to help you see. I'm coming back to right my wrongs. All I want to do is get drunk, sing songs. That Baba never helped me anyway. Well, I'm sorry for everything I've done. Now I'm back, show you how to have a little fun. Here's to the devil for everything you had to say. Yeah, back in, run my wrongs. Now I'm here, show you how to have a little fun. Oh, fuck, dude, god damn it.